getting going, but if you can, and let me make sure everybody is allowed to chat. Can you, let me see. You should be able to. Um, you should be able to. Where is it?
I see that it's
Oh,
allowed in the settings.
yeah. And can you, let's check to see if the chat's working. Where's everyone calling in from? From what I see in the feed, I know a few of you. I am noticing that Sacramento, Nancy, so you're able to chat. Layla, London, oh my goodness. Oh, hi, Layla. How are you? Nice to see you again. Oh, I better put my glasses on so I can read this chat. Very good. Excellent. Everybody's getting the email. Vermont, fantastic. You got California, Vermont, London, Oklahoma, fantastic. Welcome. I'm so excited you're all here. Great. Mystical nomad currently in Wisconsin. I love that. I was a mystical nomad for 10 years. Well, I don't know about mystical, but I was definitely a nomad. I traveled around the world with my backpack and guitar. So, and had no permanent address. So I feel you, Jacqueline. Are you living in an RV? Or what are those things called? The air streamers or something. That would have been my dream. Thank you all for coming. Welcome. And thank you for responding so quickly and seeing that updated Zoom link. Sorry about that little mishap. We are streaming live on Facebook and Instagram. Well, I'm hoping we are. Hi, Hengama. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Greetings from Berlin. Excellent. We got an international crowd here. So we should hopefully be streaming live on Facebook and Instagram. If you are listening live on Facebook and Instagram, please put in the chat where you're calling in from. For those of you who are watching the replay, definitely feel free to also add, that you're watching the replay and where you're calling in from. We're so excited to have you here. We're going to start in just a few minutes because we are trying something incredibly new, at least for me, and I'm not really that tech savvy. I think I'm tech savvy for a 58-year-old, but I'm not tech savvy. So we are streaming live, Facebook and Instagram, first time ever. I'm using a wonderful platform that hopefully is streaming it out on both those things while we are live here on Zoom, which excites me. Technology is just amazing. I do understand if people fear it. I do. But you know what? Once you learn it, it's actually exciting, the world that it opens up for you. Because we had exceeded the amount of Zoom guests I could have who signed up for this. And so the only way to really allow other people who couldn't, exceeded that cap to watch was to bring it on Facebook and Instagram. And so the purpose and the reason was much bigger than my fear of tech. So it forced me to learn something that I was absolutely afraid of. Yes, Layla, you and me must be sisters. You look like baby Gemma. Kind of hate tech. Yes, yes, yes. Love that you did a vulnerable share and we get to see you in process. What an honor. Well, any of you have known me for years, you've seen me stumble in many a different circle and survive it. And and I know that some of these things that I stumbled weren't as big as some of the things I know you have stumbled, but I think we can all recognize, and I hope we can all celebrate how incredibly strong we all are. And that's one of the reasons why I do what I do in helping women to get their especially women, underrepresented voices on the most important stage on the planet, the TEDx stage. We need those voices influencing. We need those voices, screaming out solutions, not screaming out, but you know what I mean. Bringing out solutions, ideas, and perspectives that is not in the norm, or that is not really in the mainstream. And this is how we do it. We share this information with each other so that you guys can have the tools, the confidence to go out there and really establish yourself as a global leader, as you should be. Because I think that's what brings us and this group together. I tend to find people who come to my workshops and my webinars are people who literally, I mean, it's like on their to-do list, they have, pick up laundry, pay bills, and then to save the world, and then, get the car checked. So those are the people who are on this call. If you resonate with that and you are that kind of person, go ahead and put a me in the chat. Yes, Falilan, no worries. It was that was my mistake about the link. I'm so glad you were able to make it. Yeah, Vailan, I know you are. Jacqueline, yes, you are. Colleen, you are. Martha, you are. Your to-do list looks like do laundry, pay bills, change the world, and feed the cat. That is you. That is me. That is all of us. And that's what brings us together today. I'm so thrilled that you guys are going to take this time with, this is valuable time. We're all business people. We're all coaches. We're all, have lives of our own. And you're taking an hour to invest in yourself. And I'm going to do everything I can in this hour to give you all the tools you need to just take that first giant step into your voice, your global message, and to really step into your thought leadership. Okay, so let's get started. I'm so excited. You are here. If you this session is for coaches, it is for I'm going to share my screen and show you and ask you who you are in this. Are you a coach? Are you, oops, oh, actually, you know what, go ahead, Jackie, and go ahead and share this slide. The slide is, so it's if you're a coach, if you're an author, if you are a professional, if you're a speaker, if you are a consultant, a business, a business owner, or a nonprofit leader. Any one of those things, can you tell me in the chat, which ones are you? You could be multiple. I imagine as women, you guys are multiple. We are all constantly doing more things because the kind of work we does not put us in a box. We go out there in the world and do what we need to do to spread our message and do the good work that we were placed on this planet to do. 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, professor, this would be number 3 and 4. Excellent. So that means coaches, professional speakers, teachers. Excellent. 2, 3, and 4. So that's authors, professionals. Excellent. It looks like we've got professionals here. We've got coaches here, business owners. Excellent. I love this. I love this because, change makers like you, people who want to change the world, we need you in everywhere. We need you doing the work outside, doing your work and getting your message out there, and teaching and coaching and consulting. And then we need those of you professionals who are working from the inside, because that's where a lot of the change needs to happen, because that's where a lot of the influence is. And if you can change that, it's like the belly of the beast, right? You go into the belly of the beast, you change it from the inside, and we'll see that change happening at all levels of society. So I appreciate all of you and everybody who is on this call, because I know that you are destined to do amazing, amazing things. So those of you, I imagine, and here's, from my research, one of the reasons I do this work is because there are multiple challenges that I see many of the women who are, that I work with are facing. And so, Jackie, you can go to the next slide. So the challenges, oh no, you don't have the next slide, sorry. The challenges are, the challenges that a lot of us face is that we're a small fish in a big pond. There's a lot of people doing similar thing. And especially in the age of AI, now things are getting homogenized. Everyone's got this quote help, to get their message out there in a way that is very compelling. And so now how do you differentiate from all of these people who all sound kind of the same? They're all a little bit homogenized. And so Jackie, actually, you can go ahead and stop sharing screen for just a second. So how do we differentiate ourselves in that pond, right? And then the next is, we're in this we don't know if our message is landing. Sometimes we'll put that message out there and we won't get the response that we expect. So is it that we are, the message is not clear, or the message is not resonating with our audience, or do we need a different audience? So there's all of these factors that maybe our message isn't landing. Another challenge may be, and this is a huge thing, and this is a huge thing for me, I will confess, I'm suffering from imposter syndrome right now, just trying to get this out there into the world on both live and Instagram and Facebook. But oftentimes we'll be suffering from imposter syndrome, like, oh, my message isn't strong enough. Oh, who am I to say this? Who am I to have this kind of influence? Who am I? I don't know enough. There's other people who know better. There are other people who have all of these initials by, at the end of their names. There's so many factors that go into our self-doubt and into the ways in which we feel like we are not deserving of or enough to do the work that we're doing or have the voice that we have. So if you resonate with that, the imposter syndrome element, go ahead and put it in, or any of those challenges, the imposter syndrome, the message not landing, being a small fish in a big pond, just go ahead and put a plus sign in the chat. Let me know if these are things that you are feeling, so that we can, yeah, I totally get it. There it is. Yep. Okay, well, good. If I understand your challenges, I hope what you'll allow me to do is share some information that you hopefully will help you to be able to overcome some of those things and find your way towards becoming the thought leader and change maker that you are. Small fish, big pond. Understood, Martha? Yeah, thanks, everybody. So this is what you've joined is the TEDx, the Crack the TEDx Code, 3 strategies to skyrocket your visibility, your credibility, and your profit. And I wanted to talk about and most of you, you probably understand TEDx, because I really just had to say TEDx and most everyone signed up. So you all know basically about TED and TEDx. TEDx being the most important stage on the planet. It has global reach. There are over 3,000 TEDx events all over the planet. They're extremely hard to get into. And but once you have that TEDx stamp on your resume, oh my gosh, it just catapults your authority. It catapults, you have much more leverage to be able to get higher paid and higher profile speaking engagements, and it'll bring attention to your business, and you can do the work, share the work with a wider audience, especially a global audience. So the TEDx effect, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, so you know why I'm doing this and why I feel qualified to do this, is that I used to be a preschool teacher and a professional jazz musician. And I was supposed to be in the World Trade Center when the planes hit. And I ended up writing a song in response to it, about people coming together through tragedy and rising up together, because that's what I saw in New York City. And as a result, I went and built a global peace movement. After I built the global peace movement, I started to do water work in sub-Saharan Africa and Asia, bringing water to 1 million people in Asia and Africa. And then I got into academia. And here's the skinny. So TEDx for me, the TEDx effect for me was when I got my first TEDx, I actually, from that first TEDx, I was invited within 18 months. I was invited to speak at the U.S. Capitol. I then was invited to teach at Stanford University, and then I got 2 more TEDx talks. And here's the dirty little secret, and which is why I know all of you can do this too, is I don't have a college degree. And here I am having this global platform to be able to share some of, my story about how I overcame this tragedy of not being, surviving this huge disaster, and then being able to pivot my life into a way that I was focused on my purpose and how I could be of more service to the world. And so that is my personal story that I was able to tell on 3 TEDx stages. So that's how it catapulted me. And then you see people like the Brene Browns of the world and the Simon Sinek's. They started on the TEDx stage, not even the TED main stage, on the TEDx stage, the locally organized events. They became 2 of the top 10 videos, TEDx talks ever, even amongst the TED talks, the most watched videos. And then now they command $100,000 to $150,000 a talk. Brene Brown now has a special on Netflix. You've got Simon Sinek all over. Everybody's using his meme, find your why. It is the core of everybody's purpose. So this is like the TEDx effect for not only myself, but for people like Brene and Simon, like like I call them by their first names. So that is what we're looking to do. So who thinks that if you land a TED Talk, it would catapult your personal brand, your career, and your business? And if you can, maybe put a yes in the chat. Yes in the chat. And that goes for you all in Facebook and Instagram live lands. Yeah. Oh, good. I'm so glad we've got confident people in here. You guys know you are. I'm so glad you're here because it sounds to me like you are ready. So let's start with the TEDx process. And this is something, Jackie, I think we want to share on screen. We're going to dive into all those sort of logistical pieces, things you need to know about the TEDx process. So the TEDx process. So as I mentioned, there's TEDx events in 160 countries. There's upwards of 3,000 of them hosted every year, over not just every year, but maybe every other year. Not all of them will host every single year. But the process is, and some of them, I actually just spoke to a friend of mine who is an organizer for a local one in one of the United States cities, and they get thousands of applications. Thousands of applications. You're seeing gray rectangles on right and on bottom. Okay, maybe there might be some issues with the. Oh, I see. Yeah, I think, Jackie, I'm not sure what maybe you know what I think it is? I think your chat is probably on that screen, is where that gray is. Oh, there it is. Okay, so here's the TEDx process. So actually, can you go back to the TEDx process a few pages back? Perfect, thank you. So essentially what you do is you have to, the first thing you start out with is an idea. You need to have an idea that, quote, changes everything. Before March of this year, TED and TEDx's slogan was ideas worth sharing or ideas worth spreading. It was very passive, and it didn't have any it wasn't very proactive. And they wanted to be a little bit more, they did want to be more proactive. They wanted to, to really refine what their mission was by being proactive and saying, we want to be part of a movement of ideas that change things. And so they changed it to ideas that change everything. And I love that because it becomes a movement rather than a passive listening exercise. And that's what I think, when you are part of the TEDx family and the TEDx community and ecosystem, this is what you are. This is part of what your brand will be, is you are part of a movement that wants to change the world. And that's what I love, because it doesn't just add that you're a great speaker or you're a great expert. It becomes that you are a thought leader and a change maker, which is beautiful. So after that, you don't necessarily, once you get your hone in on your idea, you don't necessarily need your talk yet, because what you want to do is you want to apply. And and that application asks you things about, um, it asks you things, about your idea, how it's going to help others and the audience, what impact it's going to have in the world, what your expertise is, and why you're the right person to say it. So these are the kinds of questions you're going to get asked. And if you can pass that application process, then sometimes the application process in the first round, they'll also ask you to submit a video, but sometimes they'll just ask you for an application. And once you get that application done, if you get to the second round, they'll ask you to submit a video, because they need to see, how you are in terms of stage presence and sort of a dynamism, and comfort and confidence in your message and in your ability to public speak. So that is the app video. After that, then it's the interview. The interview is all about, now they want to sort of dig a little deeper and ask you more questions about your idea, because you can't get all of your information into the app video, the application video, because it's usually anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes. And although TEDx talks can be anywhere from 3 to 18 minutes, 3 minutes is usually a pretty short time to try and get across some of the information that you want to share, that you'll be sharing in your talk. So that's where the interview comes in. You can talk a little bit more about, go into a little bit more depth of, if you mention some research, what that research looks like, if you mention evidence, what does that evidence look like? What exactly happened to the people who might have tried some of your solutions or your suggestions? So that's the kind of thing that will happen in the interview. Then for some of the local ones, because there are TEDx events that will only bring in speakers who are local. They don't like to bring people from outside their community. And so when that happens, they will, sometimes they'll even have you audition live. This is actually not a bad thing if you get something, if you get, because you can be much more competitive on a local at a local TEDx, and that we'll talk about which stage to start pursuing in a minute. But that's, even though it's an audition, it doesn't need to be the exact talk, because a lot of times what the organizers will do, and they feel they really, and one of the reasons, because this is all volunteer, some of the reasons why people will volunteer to do it is because they want to actually support the speakers to help them actually refine their talks. So even if you don't have a ton of even if your talk might still not be the final draft, you will even get a lot of these TEDx organizers will actually want to support you and help you improve your talk, because they know what their audience likes. They've been the ones posting their videos of their past speakers online and seeing which ones are active and really uh, 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 you know, uh, all the, these are active, and they are places that you can, oh my gosh, I completely lost my train of thought. I looked at a message on this side and I should not have. So anyway, you understand what I'm saying is that people who volunteer, they really do want to help you improve your talk, because they know what their audience likes. They've seen the videos and the likes from those videos that they posted on YouTube, etc. So then the last thing is, if you get accepted, and if you get accepted, that's when they'll start offering their support, and they'll really surround you with all the ways, bringing you resources and support in order for you to succeed. So it's not just getting selected is not just, wow, I just got picked to be on this stage. I'm also going to get the support that I need to be able to really thrive in this environment. So very exciting for that. All right, so that is the TEDx process. Does anyone have any questions about the TEDx process before I go forward? Because I've got a ton more to talk about, and I don't want to, have to go have you hold it for so long. All right. All right. If you understand and get the understand the TEDx process and don't have any questions, go ahead and just in the chat put I got this. And we will go to the next one. Yes. Oh, here we go. Is it okay for the video to just be us standing at, oh, excellent. These, okay, we do have videos. Thank you. Is the app video about your specific topic in the application, or is it generally a video to show your speaking style? It is about your topic. You do want to share, who you are, what your idea is, what your, why it's an important and why people need to hear it now, how it's going to help people or the world or the environment, and then talk a little bit about your expertise and why you came to it. Tell you a bit of your story, and that's usually sufficient. That's plenty to put into a 1 minute. Um, that's a great question. Oh, is it okay for the video to just be us standing at our computer, or do we need to be in front of audience? Nope, you don't need to be in front of an audience. It's actually, it really is just a video for them to get a sense of your presence. And you can do it, you can do the standing in front of audience, but I don't think it's necessary. It's much better because you're not going to be able to get a clip of a 1 minute, maybe you're not going to be able to get an audience and get 1 minute clip that's going to be perfect, exactly what they want you to say, right? So just doing it like this, like I am doing this right now, this webinar, this is sufficient. Great. Do you get tech runs, dress rehearsal when you do a talk? Is there more than one talk lined up or just one? Yeah, great question. So there are some of them will have tech runs. I in my three, only one of them had a tech run. And when they say run, and for those of you who are not familiar with that, when they do tech runs, they basically get attach the microphone onto you. You go on the stage. They find out what your volume level needs to be, and then you're set. It doesn't usually take more than 5 minutes. The only challenge is that you end up getting there like a couple hours early. Some of these TEDx events will expect you to come the night before for a full rehearsal. So it's going to range. So just expect that, especially if you plan to travel, expect to add an extra evening before that, in case they have one of those dress rehearsals. But most of the time, it depends on, like I said, I can't speak for every single event, but for the ones that I did, they had, most of them had at least where they hooked up my lavalier, which is the mic, the clip-on mic, or the mic that you wear like Madonna. And we just tested my volume so that all they needed to do when I got on stage was turn the volume up to what they did at rehearsal. Great. Got it. You got this. Exactly. The app video is only 1 minute. Actually, it can range. So what I've seen is for the applications that you apply to, and you have to have a 1 minute video in that first application, it's usually 1 minute. For those who have just the application, and then you get accepted to the next round can be a video, and they can be up to 3 minutes. So it depends. Like I said, these are all organized by local volunteers. So where they have to meet all of the stringent selection guidelines and the talk guidelines from TED and TEDx, and other sort of protocols. The ways in which they do these other things, like the application process and rehearsals and things like that, very, very widely. So it depends. And these are questions you can ask when you get accepted, right? So that's good. So you just submitted an application and it was 2 minutes, and they said we need to be able to attend the tech for 4 hours a day before. Perfect. That's great. Congratulations, Gretchen. Oh my gosh, Gretchen, that's fantastic. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. Yes, that's usually what happens. The tech is a big thing because they want it to, it's a professional thing and they want things to run smoothly. Excellent. Oh my gosh, Gretchen, that is the best news I've heard all day. Fantastic. All right. All right. So let's get to the next. So let's talk about how to find events. So as I mentioned, thousands of events all around the globe. There are three ways in which you can be looking at these events, researching the events. Let's go to the how to find events. I don't know if you have that screen, that slide, actually. So yeah, I don't think you do. All right, we'll just go back to me. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So the three ways in which you can look at, start searching, because you don't have, like I said, you don't have to have, and you shouldn't be expected to have your TEDx talk ready, when you apply, because it can take weeks and sometimes months for you to hear back, depending on their deadlines, right? And so um, so what you want to do, you don't want to blanket 3,000 events. You want to be really strategic and go and apply to the ones that are going to be the most relevant for you, right? The ones where are going to be you'll be much more competitive. So the first round is looking at local versus regional. So as I mentioned, there was an event where the local, when I talked about they only bring in speakers who are local, and some of them will expect them to audition before they get accepted. So what's good about, local ones is that if there's a TEDx talk in your city or close by, you'd probably be much more competitive if you actually apply there, because there are things you can do other than applying that can help you be competitive, which is sometimes these TEDx events, the organizers really love building community, and they don't just host that main event every year. They'll host salons, they'll host networking sessions. And if you attend those, and that's what's great about them being local, if you attend those, you can start networking with some of the speakers, you can start networking with some of the organizers, plant some seeds there. And then when you apply, your name will have been, it'll be a refresher to the people you've networked with. The thing about the regional is that that's when anybody, when I say regional, I mean, they don't have any local stipulations. They don't just bring in people from local. This can be anybody from anywhere. I did mine in New York, Connecticut, and San Francisco. And so I didn't need to be local. They were looking for people anywhere around the globe. And it's the location-based search is what you could be looking for. So that still might be a lot, right? Especially the regional, because that's all over the world. You might even then narrow it down to theme. If you look based on theme, so every year TEDx hosts events that have themes. So maybe one year it's innovation. Maybe the next year it's about health and wellness. Maybe the following year is about future readiness, whatever, right? Whatever, when you're doing your search for the local or regionals, you can also then look at their themes to narrow it down to who you should be applying to. Because when you look at the themes, if it aligns with your talk, or you can bring a fresh perspective to that, and think out of the box about how you might align your talk with, let's say the talk is about the future of work and you do wellness. You can frame your wellness theme or your wellness message and solution to the future of work, in that we need to have a healthy populace, right? Or a healthy workforce, whatever, right? You can think out of the box, but theme is a really, really good way to start honing in on who you also might be applying to. And then finally, there are two other types. One is the institutions. So institutions like you're seeing colleges, high schools now, libraries are all, they are now hosting events. And those events, if you are an alum, for example, like my high school, I just found out has a TEDx stage, and I can associate with myself with that because I'm an alum, right? So even though I'm not regional, I can actually apply to that one because I graduated from there. So if you're an alum, or if you have an association with any one of these institutions, this is also a way to be competitive. The last two are through institutions. I'm sorry, not institutions. They are they are demographic based. So there's a TEDx Women and there's also TEDx Youth. Now, TEDx Women, I'm hearing things about them not existing much anymore. We can have a conversation about that, but it's not the beginning, it's not productive right now. But there's TEDx Women and there's TEDx Youth. TEDx Women is, doesn't necessarily bring in women speakers, but it's women focused, right? Women perspectives, women solutions, women's, issues, etc. And then you have things like TEDx Youth, where it's normally youth organized, and it's youth organized for students by students. So if any of those fit, these are ways to narrow down where you apply. And the thing is, like I said, there's thousands of these platforms. So it's just going to make it easier for you. I'm not saying you should narrow it down to the 5 perfect ones. Certainly that's a good strategy, but it's also good to, I always encourage the people that I work with to apply to, at least 15, at least 25 to 50 minimum. After this, you guys are going to get a list of 50 TEDx stages that have open applications all year round. So you can look at those. And then as you're looking at those, it'll start giving you a sense of what to look for. And then you can go deeper and wider if you don't find enough in that list that I give you. That list has 25 from the US and 25 international. So I know those are for many of you, that is a thing, because many of you are calling in from from international or outside the US. Okay, so the Kirby is asking, are you fed your speech through a teleprompt? Is it expected to be completely memorized? Completely memorized. I know that's a little nerve-wracking, but but that's how they want it, and that's how it should be. They edit it, however. So if you do mess up on stage, that's why it takes a few months for them to put it on the platform. They have to vet it and edit it. If it's so, I haven't heard of times that they did not post things for content. I've heard it where they've not posted things for like tech issues and stuff. So yeah. And then so I hope that was helpful, Hillary. And then where and how to search. I will give you a list and then give you also, if you go into my Facebook group, I'll be telling you all sorts of, little tidbits about how you can do it. And you can learn how to do a bigger search, wider than the list of 50 that I'm giving you after this. Great. All right. Who is feeling confident that this is easier than they thought, or it's not so much easier than you thought, but it feels doable? Who is it? I mean, who feels that way? And if you feel that way, put a thumbs up in the chat. Excellent, Hillary. Cool. I'm so glad you're feeling that. Excellent. All right, next. Feels doable. Thumbs up. Just go. All right. Excellent. Excellent. All right. So then let's talk about, let's go a little deeper into the application. I'm just going to quickly go through it because I definitely want to dive into the storytelling. So the application, I think I talked about it a little, but I want to kind of give you a visual. So Jacqueline, you can go ahead and put that application screenshot up, and we'll look at that. So when you're when you're writing in your application, you definitely want to be highlighting your relevant work. So any work that's related not only to the work that you're doing, but also the kind of work that exhibits that you have either the resilience or the wherewithal and the capacity to do this work as well. So, for example, I mentioned earlier, I don't have a college degree, but I have relevant work in the field and awards from being a social entrepreneur doing work, in the global South, bringing clean water. That is, that's relevant to my work in uplifting underrepresented voices, right? So relevant work doesn't necessarily mean I studied, international development and my solution is about international development, right? You bring the relevant work that will show and demonstrate your capacity as a leader and a change maker. So the second thing is life experience. People are super scared about calling themselves experts, when all they have is life experience. But, who would you ask to recommend a flavor of ice cream? Would you ask the adult who's never tasted it but knows all about the ingredients, or the kid who tasted it, right? Life experience is absolutely essential in here, and this is where a lot where your life experience comes in, because that is absolutely where you can provide evidence of whatever your solution is that works, um, or or it shows that you are capable of overcoming things, and what you learned from that you are able to share with others. And then you look at your evidence. So showing evidence of how your solution or your idea has caused some change, has had some outcomes that have had some sort of transformation or deep change that made a difference in someone's life or in their environment. And then bringing a unique insight on an existing idea, topic, or method. Like, you don't have to, you can talk about, let's say you're talking about farming. Maybe you're bringing a perspective that's more about regenerative farming, or farming that's more high yield and smaller plots. Bring a unique insight or idea or topic to some existing traditional thinking, right? That's another way. Also challenging conventional thinking. There we have this certain belief system that we can challenge, that we've been challenging belief systems around all the isms. Challenge all of those conventional thinking and see how we can approach it in a way that will not bring divisiveness, that will bring understanding and empathy, that kind of thing. And then, of course, a new idea is always welcome. So that's what you want to be putting in your application. Also, show your receipts. Yes, disco. Yeah, I love that. So, okay. So does everyone feel like they have at least one or two of, so the left side is basically your experience and the right side is the your thinking, right? Your idea. Do you, who here feels like you feel comfortable that you fit any one or two criteria on the left, or one or two criteria on the right? If you do, put 2 pluses in the chat. 2 pluses. Oh, how to permanently, yes, lose weight by eating too much chocolate. Indeed. All right. Okay. Oh, yeah, Gretchen. Let's double down on those six pluses. Okay, excellent. Okay. So now let's get into the storytelling piece, because this is the piece that is the most compelling and what grabs people. So the thing about TEDx, in TED, the theme has been changed, and it's now ideas change everything. So it actually kind of ups the ante. It kind of ups the challenge here for people who want to do TEDx talks. And where we can make a really big um, uh, mark, and what is not mark, what is it, where we can be influential or be compelling and be attractive, right, is through our story. So I'm going to talk about a storytelling framework that I've put together, that I've seen, at least just witnessing a lot of these talks, how I kind of see them broken up. So let's go with so Jacqueline, let's put up the 3 parts of the story and we'll go through the frameworks. So I want to keep it really simple in a way that, where where stories can be seen as actually really simple, right? So there are three parts to a story. There's the setup, which is sort of, here's the world as it is now. Here's the normal. If you think of a character, it's their everyday life, right? That's the setup. That's and then the second part of it, something happens and they experience a struggle. And from that struggle, whatever choices they make during that struggle, there will be an outcome. And that outcome is sort of the end of the story, because now there's a new normal as a result of that setup. So, and as a result of the struggle and that disruption. So I want to talk a little bit about, so let's go to the next stage, the types of struggles. So the struggles that we often will find in our stories that are the most compelling is the human versus something. And those struggles, generally, the top five are human versus human. So that would be like a Rocky story, right? Rocky fighting, as the underdog to beat the champ. It's human versus human. Then there might be human versus nature. And human versus nature might be a story like the Chilean miners who were stuck down in the mines, right? That's human versus nature. That's them trying to overcome, survive this natural disaster. Then there might be human versus environment. And when we say environment, we don't necessarily mean like, our nature and things. We mean like your immediate surroundings. So it might be your work environment. Maybe it's toxic. It might be a family, environment. So the struggles with the environment that you don't have a ton of control over, right? So that is another story, a struggle. And then there's society. So that would be a story around like Martin Luther King and his fight for civil rights. It could be, Gloria Steinem and her fight for women's rights, that kind of thing, right? So the societal struggles. And then there might be the human versus self. And this human versus self is often part of any one of these stories. So you'll have like a human versus human and a human versus self in the same story, right? And that is when you are sort of self-reflecting on things that might have happened to you and how you might see change happen, or how you might cause change to happen, or change your life in some way. So those are the struggles, and they each have a different way of being told. And but those are the general ones, and those are the ones that are most compelling, because every one of us struggle, and every one of us in those struggles have a choice to make. So let's go to the next stage, the next slide. So just to give you a sense of where, how the story spine goes, or the story framework goes. So you've got the setup, that's the normal world. That is, where the main character, this is what their everyday world looks like. Then some sort of disruption happens. And when we say disruption, that means, it could mean some disaster, like my story for at the United Nations. It could be a disruption where, you wake up one day and you're just, and you're just, for the last few months or the last year, you've been feeling really like stuck and you can't do something. And that's a disruption and you want to make a change, right? And then you go into the unknown and you start experiencing these challenges. So you've got challenge after challenge after challenge. And then you hit this peak conflict where you have to make sort of this decision. And then from that decision, an outcome is made, or happens. And so that outcome could be, for me in my story around September 11th and building that global peace movement, my peak conflict was, I survived this. I need to do something and get back to the world. And that peak conflict was, I need to make a choice and leave my life, give away all my belongings and go and build this global peace movement. And the outcome was everything that I told you. So that is sort of how that story framework works. You've got the setup, the disruption, something that changes things. And then you go through these struggles in the unknown. You hit this peak conflict and make a decision on whether you're going to go back to your life as it was, or go forward, and take a big leap, and then the outcome. So how this can be turned into what I consider how it, this is one way to turn your story into a TEDx talk is if you look at, so let's go to the next slide, Jacqueline. When you look at these setup and the outcome, we're going to reframe those as the status quo and the new status quo. Because what we want to see is a change, right? We don't want to just see a change in individual, but we want to see a change in society, a change in the collective. And so how your story might begin in this might be like, here's the status quo. Here is, what the world is like right now. And let's say for me, it was, for me working in sub-Saharan Africa, the status quo was that women could not build any water and sanitation technologies. They were the passive recipients of failed water projects, and they just had to deal with it. They were the ones who had to carry the water, etc. That was the status quo. Then a disruption happened. The disruption being they met our organization, and we were training them, and they went from challenge after challenge after challenge, being that they went into the communities being ridiculed. They went into communities not completely feeling confident about their skills. They went into communities where people didn't believe in what they were doing, but their peak conflict was they decided that it was important to do because they had, and it didn't matter what kind of, how people thought of them, they had to bring this work to their community because clean water was the difference between survival and thriving, right? And so let's go to the next slide, actually, Jacqueline. So they made a decision. They were going to take a leap into this big, unknown, and doing things that were completely challenging their status quo, completely challenging their cultural beliefs, completely challenging tradition. And they took that leap. And then because they did that, all of a sudden they changed the new status quo. They were all of a sudden able to bring clean water to their communities. Their husbands were treating differently. The girls were looking up to them going, oh my gosh, I could be an engineer, things like that. They completely changed the status quo. So that is how you can look at this bigger story, right? You can look at what was the world before, and then what is the disruption that happened and the challenges that people were facing. And then and this is what I love to call, instead of peak conflict, we call it the moment of obligation. What was that moment that you decided that this was something you had to do, that you had no other choice to do because it was part of your life's mission, it was part of your destiny, it was something that would make you want to wake up every morning and do the work. So if this resonates with you, if you have a story like this, I love that, Disco Mike. Let's put impacts in the chat. If this story framework resonates with you on how you can actually think bigger about your story and how it could be a TEDx worthy story, a TEDx worthy talk. It resonates. How do you split the time across the 3 parts? Yeah, that's a really, really great question. So we have about 7 minutes left. So what I'm going to do, and I'm glad you asked that, actually, Hillary, because we don't want to spend too much time on our story. We definitely want to talk, we want to be able to highlight evidence and well, it depends on how the story fits into your idea. So that's the kind of stuff that I help people with when I coach. So I wanted to. So this I hope we've covered the application process, we've covered the video process, we've covered the search process and where to search. So who feels like they're on a scale of 1 to 5? How well equipped? And we talked about the story framework. How well equipped do you feel for a story from 1 to 10? Do you feel like you can actually go out and do and apply? I know there are a few people, one person on this call I do know has come to a workshop of mine and went off and, a free workshop, went off, got their TEDx talk. I love that. I've had somebody else just take this particular workshop and gone off and applied and is on their second round. This just happened like a few weeks ago. So an 8, great. Disco Mike is an 8, Martha's a 7. So anyone else? On a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you feeling walking, doing, um, diving into applying for a TEDx talk? Pretty comfortable. Excellent. Oh, that makes me so happy. Jacqueline, 5. I totally understand. 6 plus 9. Oh, Gretchen, excellent. I would say 10 for you, my lady. All right. 7, 8. Good. Those are all on the good side of on the good side. Excellent. All right. So that's basically what I have for you today, but I wanted to extend an invitation. And so um, what I do is I have an 8-week program that where we talk about the accelerating, getting a TEDx talk um, and harnessing it to make money and start your speaking business. So who would like to learn how to, monetize, to not only set yourself up for a TEDx talk, but also at the same time start building a profitable speaking business? And if you want that, go ahead and in the chat, go ahead and put yes. Yeah, Bailen, you're a perfect person to start it. So you say yes in the chat if that's what you want to do. All right. Okay. So I'm going to quickly go through what I do and what I can help you with so that, and then if you are interested, we can book a call because I'm going to be offering for the first, if people still need extra help, I'm going to be offering for the first 5 people who book a call, they will be able to get a free breakthrough session where we can do whatever you want. We can talk about your idea, we can talk about your strategy, etc. And I can tell you, and if you're interested, I'll tell you a little bit more about the program. But I wanted to tell you about the TEDx Profit Accelerator. It's an 8-week program that I'm running, and you can jump in at any time. We have a what I want to be able to do is to help you not only get ready for the TEDx talk, but simultaneously start designing your speaker strategy so you can start making money. And that, so actually, can you put on the screen, Jackie, can you put the parallel tracks? So in this 8-week program, there are parallel tracks. So like every week we will cover, like, for example, the first week will be all about, actually the next one, Jackie. So yes, thank you. There are parallel tracks. So essentially what we'll be doing is, helping you get ready for your TEDx talk, and then also at the same time designing your speaker strategy, because setting yourself up for the TEDx talk is already setting you up to become a speaker. And all we're doing in the speaker strategy on that second track is designing an income strategy for you. Because yes, getting visibility on the most prestigious stage in the world is great, but you want to harness that and turn it into profit. And so what we do is every single week we will be covering like the idea. This week, for like the first week, for example, is idea. We cover the idea for your TEDx talk, and then we cover the idea for your speaker strategy. They are similar, but they're not exactly the same. Whereas TEDx's audience is universal and large, and your speaker strategy, you have a super specific niche. So we actually look at each element of your speaking business. So your bio, your idea, your call to action, all of them, all of your, both your TEDx talk and your speaker strategy, your signature talk need that, but they're slightly different. So we're helping you design both of those so that once you're done with the program, you've not only got your applications for TEDx out there, but you've also got a profitable strategy to start getting you on this, speaking on stages. So let's go to the next page. We've got about 1 minute left. I don't want to keep you longer. I might have to ask you to stay longer if you can. So the goals and objectives of this program is to get your TEDx and your signature talks done. They are crafted and done. The second is we want to help you apply for TEDx and also start looking for speaking events. Again, these can be done at the same time because these are the prep things that the requirements that you need to have for all of them overlap. we want you to be able to present your talks to peers for feedback. And then we also want to help you strategize your sustainable income model. So that's the goals and objectives of the program. Can you go to the next one now too? So because what I'm going to show you and talk to you about in terms of earning income, there are different types of audiences, and each of those audiences are going to have different strategies for income and different strategies for visibility and credibility. And that's one of the things we'll really dive into in the program, because I want you to understand the types of audiences they have, why you would select certain audiences over others, and how you pull any one of those audiences, whether the general audiences, the other people's audience, into your audience and start building your email list. Because if they don't purchase your services now, they could be later if you continue to nurture them. So that's the strategy. If you want to go to the next screen, Jacqueline. So there's the most sustainable income. We want to pull your general audiences and your other people's audiences into your audiences ultimately, because that's where you're going to find opportunities for more income. And we'll go deeper into that into the program. So that all said, it's 101. And I know I've taken up so much of your time, and you guys have stayed and asked questions and engaged, and I've loved every moment of it. I want to put in the chat the link to book a call with me. Like I said, the first 5 people who book a call will get a free, we'll have a 40-minute session where not only if you have any questions about the program, I'll answer those, but we'll also talk about your strategy and where you might be stuck and moving forward with either 1, your TED Talk, or 2, your income strategy, or both, whatever we have time for. But for the first 5 who sign up, you can, I will absolutely, I'm very excited that we'll be able to do this together so you can get started faster. And for those of you who are interested to learn more about the different ways in which you can be involved and get my support for this accelerator, the TEDx Profit Accelerator, I definitely want to make sure you have all your questions answered. And yes, I'm going to send the link right now. Thank you, Bailan. It is right here. Where is it? Where'd it go? Oh goodness, what happened to it? Sorry, gang, I had it. Thank you, Disco Mike. It is here. It was in my notes in my actually, Jacqueline, do you see it in your notes on the last slide by chance? Actually, first of all, can we please give a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful hand to my dear, dear Jacqueline, and my dear, dear Jacqueline. First of all, was she literally just received the deck just a few minutes ago, and she's been awesome in keeping up with me. And then we had Nancy, who also helped. She's been such a big wing woman for and supportive of me for the last few months. It's been so great to have her. She's been wonderful. And then we've had a dear new friend, Violet, Ether, all part of this one fabulous community who helps women helping each other. And I've loved having your guys' support here, because it has been such a joy to have you cover me as I took a dive into this huge new, oh, there it again. There it is. Thank you, Nancy. So it is the bit.ly/coach-tedx. Just want to make sure that's it. Let me click it, because I've already given you guys the wrong link once today. So let me make sure you have the correct one. And there it is. It is correct. So yes, go ahead and book some time. This will be replayed. This replay will be in my Facebook group. So you'll get an email later today that will give you all these instructions about joining the Facebook group, where to get the replay. You'll get you'll get probably in the next 15 to 20 minutes, you'll get the free bonus that we were talking about, which is the TEDx the Crack the TEDx code PDF and the 50 TEDx events that accept applications year round. So those as well. So you'll be getting that in the next 4 to 6 hours. Otherwise, my goodness, thank you all for being so patient with my technology uh, snafus and finding us even though you were sent you were sent a different link. It was actually the correct link. I was the one who logged in wrong to the wrong link today, but I couldn't back out because I'd already started streaming. So but this was a first, and firsts are always going to be scrappy and imperfect, and I appreciate you all being so kind and patient with me as I stumbled through my first, and excited that I got through it, and hopefully you walked away with more confidence moving forward to actually start your speaking business and land your first TEDx talk. Thank you again for coming. Expect the information. Hillary, you can set up a call with me and we'll go through it with you. And if you're one of the 5, I'll do a breakthrough session with you, and we'll merge the 2 conversations together. How's that sound? All right. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. What a joy it was to meet. I'm seeing some new people, which I so appreciate. And I love that you all spent your day with me. Thank you so, so much. Have a great rest of your day, and expect some emails very soon. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Violet. Thank you, Jacqueline. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you very, very much. All right.